Waycross City Commission Planning and Information Session is now called to order. At this time, we look to our city manager to call for our invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The invocation will be led by Commissioner Tompkins, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I've asked Pastor Carlos White to lead the invocation for us.
Let us pray. Eternal God, we pause at the beginning of this meeting to acknowledge your presence and your wisdom. You are the giver of life, the source of truth, and the foundation of justice. We thank you for the city of Waycross and its people. We are grateful for our commissioners and mayor who have accepted responsibility to lead, to serve, and to make decisions that impact the lives of many. I pray on today that you grant them clarity of mind, integrity of heart, and unity of purpose. Guide every decision, every discussion, and every action, that they may be marked by fairness, wisdom, and compassion. Help us all to listen well, speak truthfully, and act courageously for the common good of all. May the peace of the Lord rest upon this city, and may justice and righteousness guide its future. We ask all these things in your strong Son's name, and all God's people said,
Amen.
Amen. Let's look to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank our city manager for calling on our Commissioner Tompkins, who called upon our Bishop White, who led us in our invocation. And thank you, Bishop, for being present tonight. And with that, I will look to see if we have any guests tonight.
We do, Mr. Mayor. I will go ahead and read the decorum prior.
We will read the quorum. So at this time, cue that up.
Section 2-67B, public comment in meetings. Persons who wish to address the City Commission at a work session shall have the right to address or speak to the City Commissioners on official actions or other topics relating to the business or interests of the city. The Commission will not hear from persons, and persons will not be permitted to speak on matters or issues which are not related to official city business. Matters or issues not under the jurisdiction or control of the Commission, matters or issues published on an agenda as a public hearing agenda item, or on matters as issues which are traditionally reserved for executive session, such as personal matters and matters which are the subject of or pertain to pending or current litigation. Because time is a limited resource, and in an effort to hear from the public in the most efficient and effective manner possible, a total of 4 persons will be permitted to speak at each work session with a maximum of 3 minutes allotted to each speaker. Speakers shall sign up on a first-come, first-served basis. Failure to follow the procedures outlined herein may result in an individual not being eligible to address the Commission until he or she agrees to the mayor's satisfaction to abide by the rules stated herein. The speaker must begin the remarks by stating his or her name, address, and organization represented, if any. The speaker must initially address all remarks to the mayor and not to any individuals. The speaker shall follow the rules of decorum as set out in section 2-66 and must avoid repetition and argument. Any commissioner, the city manager, or the city attorney may, after receiving permission from the mayor, ask questions of the speaker. The asking of questions by any commissioner, the mayor, city manager, or city attorney shall automatically suspend the 3-minute time limit. Persons who have not satisfied the sign-up requirements will not be allowed to speak unless there is a consensus of commissioners to allow the person to speak. The city commission, with the consensus of the members present, may suspend all or any of these rules to the extent permitted by law. Any person who violates any of these rules may be removed from the meeting. Any speaker or proposed speaker who violates these rules after first being warned by the mayor or the city commission, either or both, to cease such violation shall, upon the conviction in the municipal court, be guilty of an offense and punished as set forth in section 1 through 9. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Madam Clerk. At this time, we will listen to our guests.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we have two guests. The first guest will be Mr. James Wood. He is speaking on alcohol license increases. Mr. Wood, you approach the podium. You have 3 minutes once you begin.
Okay, guys, my name is Mr. Wood, and I'm the owner of Woody's Top Pot. Recently, the alcohol license in Waycross tripled. That really hurt my business and also Wiley's. We have Del Wiley right over there. I have this outline, but I'm going to have to go really fast because we only got 3 minutes. The recent tripling of alcohol license fees placed a disproportionate financial burden on small and limited hour businesses, while favoring large 7-day operations that can more easily absorb higher costs. This proposal recommends adopting a fair, scalable fee structure that preserves city revenue while protecting small businesses and encouraging economic growth. Specifically, I propose adopting one of the following options: a prorated alcohol license fee based on days of operation, or a percentage-based alcohol sales fee structure. So I'm going to skip all the way to the back. A percentage-based alcohol sales fee structure is the most fair, sustainable, and future-proof approach to alcohol licenses. Unlike flat fees or operating day formulas, this model directly ties a business's license cost to its actual level of alcohol sales, ensuring that food-focused, family-friendly, and experience-based businesses that sell very little alcohol are not penalized the same as establishments whose primary revenue is alcohol 7 days a week. While prorated day models improve fairness compared to flat fees, they still fail to account for major differences in alcohol sales volume between businesses operating the same number of days. Two businesses open 3 days a week may generate drastically different alcohol revenue, yet we'd pay the same under a days open system. A sales percentage model corrects this imbalance. For businesses that primarily sell food, entertainment, or services with alcohol as a small secondary offering, this approach ensures licenses costs remain reasonable and proportional to actual alcohol activity. At the same time, higher volume alcohol sellers contribute more, aligning fees with true impact and usage. This model naturally scales with business success, protects small businesses and seasonal businesses, support food-forward establishments, and allows city revenue to grow alongside economic growth. It also relies on sales data and businesses already to report, keeping administration simple and transparent. By adopting a percentage-based alcohol sales license model, the city can eliminate inequities created by flat or day-based systems, encourage entrepreneurship, reduce business closures, and establish a modern licensing structure that is fair to all business types. So for my business, we're open 15 hours a week, 2 days, and I paid the same as everybody else, all these big franchises uptown. So to me, that was not fair to anybody downtown, the small businesses. That's what I wanted to say. That's my 3 minutes of fame.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, we have Ms. Melissa Engel, and she's going to be speaking on new business downtown concerns. Ms. Engel, you have 3 minutes as well, but could you just pause until we...
Yeah, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Hello, good evening. My name's Melissa Engel. I'm the president of the Downtown Merchants Association. I wanted to welcome our new district commissioner. Also, I haven't been to the meetings lately, but I wanted to come and introduce myself personally to you again. Talk a little bit about the downtown businesses and some of the things that we face downtown. We have wondered often about if there is going to be fees or any kind of fines allocated for these abandoned businesses that have just been left. We've got some prime retail locations that would be awesome for storefront businesses. Every day, people contact us wanting to know if there's any vacancies downtown that they don't have to go in and do a lot of work to. Unfortunately, the Phoenix building, there are going to be some vacancies over there, but the problem with that is the rent has shot up so high that we're actually losing some businesses over there as well. So we've done an amazing job growing downtown over the last couple of years. Matter of fact, we went from like 5 restaurants. I think now we're pushing 11 to 12. So we have got a lot of traffic downtown now, a lot of activity happening. Working together closely with the city and the development authorities. You know, we're trying to make sure that there's activities and everything. So I do feel the pain coming from the liquor licenses. I know that is beer and wine. Some of our people just do beer and wine, but it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them. It's going to end up costing us losing them. So I really would like for you guys to revisit that. Myself alone, I try to keep up with the meetings, but I actually missed that somehow. I missed that was a thing coming on the ballot. I was wondering if possibly the DWMA's email could get added to. Maybe that would help me kind of keep up with what's going on in the meetings, and I can also make sure that the right people are here. We all work two and three jobs. You know, I'm a business owner, small business owner downtown, and I operate my business, and I also teach at the high school. So I have many hats as well, and it's hard to keep up with the meetings. You know, for a long time there was a bunch of stuff going on in the meetings that it was really hard to keep up with the actual meat of things. So I apologize not only to my downtown merchants, but to you guys. I didn't catch it. I didn't know that was coming up for discussion. But it does seem rather large for smaller businesses that are only open 2 or 3 days a week. You know, maybe there's something that we can do to help them out to keep them downtown. And that's pretty much all I had to say.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. City Manager? If there are no more guests, we'll move to travel training in our scheduling.
Sorry about it, Mr. Mayor. Not staying, okay. Mr. Mayor, we have no travel training scheduled at this time. We'll move into the planning information session. Mr. Mayor, the vision and the mission remain the same. City plans remain the same, Mr. Mayor. Again, we're at the 2 to 4 year mark at this time. Still strengthening those weaknesses that we still struggle with, and leveraging all the improvements that we made over the last 3 years. With that, Mr. Mayor, we're going to move into the items, and we're going to start with the bids, and she has 2 items for discussion.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Purchasing has 2 items before you this evening. The first one is for surplus property. It is the rescue tool set. It is called an Amicus Rescue Tool Set. It's commonly referred to as the Jaws of Life. There are 5 components to it. This particular set was purchased back in 1988. I'm sorry, it's 1988 set. I'm not sure when we acquired it, but we have recently, as of January 2026, purchased a new tool set, and we are asking that the commission allow us to surplus the old set so that we can get it out of rotation and sell it on gulfdeals.com.
With that presentation from the Director of Procurement, I want to start off with looking at each of the districts. I'll open the floor for your consent to allow for the surplusing of these items. And I'll start with District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 1 is a yes. District 2? District 2 is a yes. District 3?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
And District 3 gives a yes. District 4?
Yes.
And District 4 gives a yes. District 5?
Yes, sir.
District 5 gives a yes. That gives us a unanimous consent. We move forward.
The next item before the commission is surplus property. It is on City Boulevard. It is Lot 3. We actually surplused this property back in 2021 per Resolution 21-106. This property is appraised, and we have received an offer on it. And at the December 10th meeting, we actually went to executive session, and the commission agreed to, they went into an executive session on 12/15 and agreed to accept the full price offer of $17,900. And we are just asking that the commission allow us to go ahead and put this in a resolution so that we can close this sale.
Thank you for that. We'll look now to the commission to give their consent. We'll start with District 1.
Yes, sir.
District 1 gives consent. District 2?
May I ask a question before I...
Yes, you certainly can.
When we sell properties like this, do we require any description of what they plan to do with that property?
This particular buyer is a subcontractor. She's been a subcontractor for the last 27 years dealing with commercial properties, and she actually would like to take this piece of property, which is approximately 1.96 acres, and build homes on that property.
You mean like
Residential homes.
residential homes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you. District 2 consenting. District 3?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
District 4?
Yes, sir.
District 3 and 4 consenting. District 5?
Yes, sir.
And District 5 consenting. You have all 5 districts.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Next, Mr. Mayor, we move into the remaining items, and we're going to start with animal management. These next few items, as far as the on the schedule, as far as animal management, the vacancy inspections and property setbacks, they do not require a decision tonight. We will take these items as we build on them to the retreat in April. So this is the follow-up we're going to do until that time frame. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I've been asked by the commissioners to look at the fees and the fines for our animal violations, and we've kind of looked over this. It's been a while since they've been updated. This will require some conversation with our court support system as well. I talked to the staff about this, some of these numbers, and we did contact some other cities to see if they looked appropriated. And this is the numbers we came up with. See before you, if you can see it, I'll read to the public that might not be able to see it. So animals at large, off leash, our current fee is $420. Now this is a one-time fee. So this means if we can identify the animal, the owner of the animal, we would then do the court proceedings, and the court proceedings could be up to a year. And then we would take it to the judge, and then the judge would assign this fee of $420. Now, in between that time frame, the citizen would still own the dog, and the dog could probably get off the leash multiple times within that time period, and he would still be only getting this $420 fee. Is that clear, Mr. Mayor? Make sure that's clear before I move on.
It's clear, but I'll open the floor to discussion with the commission if they choose to ask any questions.
Okay. With that, Mr. Mayor, we started looking at some of our processes, and we look back over the last 3 years at this problem. So with that, it's not taking a real dent in the issue, and this goes back to the conversation that initially we had about registration and chipping. And I know y'all received comments about punishing good pet owners. That is, in my opinion, our assessment is not punishing good pet owners. The primary reason we can't enforce some of these penalties because we don't know who the pet owner is, regardless if it's a responsible pet owner or irresponsible pet owner. Because sometimes responsible pet owners' dogs get out of their fences too. So I want to make that note clear. The registration would be the driver for all of this because we would know who the animal belongs to, as well as the chipping. We'll go even a step farther. That's why it's critically important that that's the first piece that we do as far as getting our animal management back under control. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'll go back to the slides. Roman at large was 420. We're going to ask commission at the retreat to look at considering raising to $500 for the first offense. Second offense, $1,000, and third offense, $2,000. I know everybody going to look at this and say we're punishing somebody, but again, if you properly manage your animal, this doesn't affect you at all. But right now, we have too many cases where we take people to court for that year process, and the dog is constantly getting out and running around. Next, Mr. Mayor, we have vicious and bites. It's two categories that are kind of combined now. As of right now, it's $690. Again, that's a one-time fee. I was taken to court for that year. We're going to ask the commission to raise that to $1,000, then $2,000, and then $3,000. Now, the difference here is we do have the ability to have the dog to make the owner relinquish the dog when the court has the ability to do that. So it might not get to that point of the $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 the first time that they go to court. I want to make that clear. As well as we do have a dog, and when it says vicious or biting, biting, of course, is biting anybody, another animal, another person. And vicious is, being vicious, barking, all those things. So with that, we already have a process of registration. So when that gets identified to go to court, they have to register that animal so we know who that animal is. That's the point on that. But again, in most cases, when a dog does do a bite, we do ask the owner to relinquish the animal. Then abandonment, you see, is $420 as of right now. The same thing kind of applies on animal at large. We're looking at $500, $1,000, $2,000. Again, the enforcement piece of this is going to be that registration and that chip. Without that, it's kind of hard to figure out when these dogs and cats get abandoned because they simply let them go into the streets or drop them off at the shelter in the middle of the night. And then last thing, improper confinement, restraint, cruelty. Right now, $690. Again, we're asking a significant increase, $1,000, $2,000, and $3,000. And again, for those citizens who are watching right now and might see this as a negative, it's not a negative. We are trying to clean this problem up with our animals, regardless of if the owner is responsible or not, because this applies to everybody. Because some of our responsible owners, they have vicious dogs too. So that will become that is in play. So these are just proposals that we're going to ask at the retreat for you to consider. And again, you see the bottom down there. These numbers do not require the registration charges if you got a vicious animal, and then it does not have the relinquishment authority, which we can do in regards to vicious and sometimes abandonment. If an animal is abandoned and we identify the owner, we do have the right now to have them relinquish that animal. I'm going to pause there, Mr. Mayor, for any feedback from the commission.
I'll start off with a couple of thoughts. And one of them is, are there any fines coupled with the court cost? And alongside that, say, for instance, there's a possible disposition should they go to court. Would that also be incurred with this fee?
Correct, it would be, Mr. Mayor.
So, right, I'll open it up to districts. District 1.
Yes, sir. Like the dogs, like the strays or whatever, that's it's going in neighbors' yards and tearing up their property and running them back in the house. So, how many times do we give a situation like that before we take the dog?
So that would be animal at large off leash. So again, we take them to court, and that could be, we have to take them to court first before we can actually do anything. But that could be a year. Like I said, it could take a year process. The only time we actually ask them to give the dog up is when they become aggressive. They've killed another animal or they've bitten a person. That's the only time, because again, we have to think about how many animals are already at the shelter, which is already at capacity. So we can't, we can only really take the dangerous animals away. The ones that's out here running around, we really don't have any room for them. So I'm hoping that's answering your question, Commissioner. I know people might not want to hear that, but that's just the reality of what it is right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. District 2
Questions, Mr. Mayor?
and District 3.
Yes, I have a question. Why is the prices the same for animal at large and abandonment? Seems like the prices for abandonment would be more severe than just an animal at large.
Well, good point. Fair question, Commissioner. Y'all can change this how y'all want to. These are just suggested prices. I'm looking at what we don't want to happen. This is going to be a byproduct regardless. If we don't have a proper registration and a chipping fee, people, they're not going to claim any animal at that point. So again, we have to have that registration, that chipping fee to force all these other actions. Without them, it's going to still be a problem. But if y'all want to raise or lower any of these fees, that would be fine, as commissioners will. I'm simply stating it right now, and it's been a year of looking into this, and I'll cover this at the retreat, but I'll talk a little bit of it now. We have reached out to a few companies that do this holistically. They do the registration, they do the chipping, they do all that, do all the tracking. They'll take the animal back for us. They will lessen the burden on our animal control in many ways. They can focus on their primary role, so that's going to be part of it too. But these are the prices that we kind of been talking about up in the air, because yes, you will find other cities, and it's probably unfair to do a city-to-city comparison on a lot of stuff. I commissioned that with alcohol licensing, which I'll do during my city manager remarks. Depending how the scale of the problem is going to be different. And right now, our fees are generally low if you think about it, it's a whole year of this. And then sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the judge doesn't necessarily apply these fees either, or these fines, if they make an agreement with the owner. So,
District 3, any further questions?
No.
Okay.
No.
Hearing none, we'll go District 4. Any questions?
I do have a question. So, just for those that are present and those that are listening, if, say, for instance, we have a senior citizen that has a dog just for companionship that's typically housebroken, let's say they sneak out of the house. So, for the first offense, you're saying right now it's $420, is that correct?
current fines, correct?
Okay. My only concern with that would be, as we all know, a lot of retirees are on a fixed income, so a $420 fine for a one-time escape may seem extreme to some folks. We may want to look at maybe for those that are on a lower income scale, as far as a fine, because if somebody's getting $1,000 a month Social Security, a $500 fine would pretty much determine whether they pay their power that month. So I think that's something we need to look at as well. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. And District 5.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. You said something that concerned me, that if we charge a person with a violation and it could take up to a year to go to court, and that dog would stay at home, correct?
Yes.
Per se. If that dog or that owner keeps violating before it goes to court, I would like to see if we could cite them continuously, and then when it eventually goes to court, lay all those fines out there, and then that person will be charged 1, 2, 3, 4, how many times they've been violated since it occurred. So is that something we could look at as well?
Yes, Commissioner, and to answer both of your questions. So if you remember when we discussed about doing the registration and the chip and all that, we had those 3 different plans for when you register your animal and you register, I have a service dog, those tiers we would know, So in those situations, I think it could be avoided. But the problem we don't know. We have a lot of people who just get animals just to get them, just to have them. And right now the fines, even at this amount, are not working. They do pay the fines. You talk as a year, so you save $50 a month. You walk in there and pay that fine off. But this approach, if you look at this, it's within a 12-month time frame. So we're talking about 3 fines with that 12-month time period. But all this, y'all can mix and match if you want to, Commission, however you want to see fit to do it. Like I said, we've been looking at this for a whole year. And again, if we don't have a enforcing function to know who the animal belongs to, that's the first part we got to fix. That's why registration should be mandatory. And I know we're going to have some pushback from that. But the 2 cities in Georgia that seem to have a little bit of control of this, they have a registration process. So that's the first thing. And then they got a true tier level fines and fees process. So, but all of this we can talk about at the retreat and kind of go from there.
Because the reason I asked was because this lady or this gentleman in this neighborhood, these dogs were getting out constantly, and these were like dangerous dogs. I told you about those. And warning again, until one morning the lady called me and said, the dog's in my front yard and they just killed the cat. So this is something that we need to address right away.
Great.
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. That's it, Mr. Mayor. That's on the slide for this. And again, at the retreat, this will be one of the main topics that we will bring to you for consideration. Next, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to bring the police chief up. He's going to cover a oath of office. We'll provide an update on oath of office for the police officers, a proposal for a golf cart resolution. We won't do it today. It will be on the agenda during the retreat. And then it's going to talk about a service agreement with the Magnolia House. Chief Cox.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commission.
Good evening, Chief.
The first thing on the agenda for me in particular is, I think when you originally sent the email, it spoke of House Bill 384. And going back and looking through it today, that House bill was actually combined with House Bill 582, but the language is the exact same. They just combined it with another bill before it went to the governor for signature. And pretty much now, under state law, it's got specific wording for the oath of office for police officers. And it also states now that the chief executive officer for the agency can actually administer the oath. As it stands right now, our city clerk and city attorney is able to do that. So we're just asking for our ordinance to be brought in compliance with current state law.
And that doesn't seem like that would be a problem, but I'll go ahead and take it through the commission for consenting. Okay. District 1?
Yes, sir.
District 2?
Real briefly, what are the differences between the changes in the bill? Just in a capsule thing.
Well, in the large bill itself, I can't speak on everything concerning that. Has a lot of domestic violence in it, but they combined this into that bill. But specifically, what it speaks of, they've added some wording in there that says faithfully, fairly, and without malice. They've included that in the oath now, and the only other particular thing is now the police chiefs can actually administer the oath to the police officers.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, I know you haven't had time to read that, so and I didn't get a chance to talk to you, Cox. If y'all can, this is for information, and then we'll be on the next agenda for approval, because it is a lot to read in there. If y'all want to just do that versus.
Yes, sir. If that's the desire of the commission, that'll be fine with me. Okay. We have consent on 1, and on 2, it was just a question. And we can turn this back around and see if you want to forego consenting today and wait and put it on a later agenda, or do we need to go ahead now? It doesn't seem like it should be such a difficult thing, because all you're really trying to do is put it in the hands of the chief so that he may be able to go ahead and swear his officers in without having to go through our clerk or through our attorney. That's what it sounds like to me. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'll read it.
Yes, that's pretty.
So everybody's ready? Okay.
It's actually a very large bill, like I said, but the only thing I'm speaking specifically to is that oath of office and administration.
And that's what was highlighted here. Mm-hmm. So I'll go back and I'll stick with what we were doing and just getting consent. We won't push it off. We'll go ahead and handle it tonight. Consenting, is that consent for 1? What about 2?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And District 3?
Yes, sir.
And District 4?
Yes, sir.
And District 5?
Yes, sir.
All right. We have all consenting. Thank you, Chief. I think there's a golf cart proposal.
There is.
Okay.
What we'll refer to as a specialty vehicle traffic ordinance, what some people call it. But there's the impression by many in our community, and it's been going on for years now, where they think, it's illegal or legally can get out on the roadways with motorized carts and low-speed vehicles, and that's not the case. What state law says is it allows local municipalities to create their own ordinance on how we want to see motorized carts and such operate on the roadways, and that's particularly what we've done here with this ordinance.
Okay. And so really you just need our consent to go ahead and put it up for a resolution? Okay. Or an ordinance. It's actually going to be an ordinance, because that wouldn't be a resolution. But what are you going to say?
Mr. Mayor, if I may, going through the the ordinance that was presented, I've been back through the previous files, what he was working on with Mr. Curry and Huey, and there are a couple of sections that need to be updated that aren't accurate, and there's some other things, tweaks that need to be made to it so that it can be a viable, enforceable ordinance. And so my understanding was that it was just going to be introduced today as a part of discussion as it was previously. However, at this time, it is not in a position to where it is the final version for the commission to then have and be able to know that it does comply with state law.
Okay. So this is basically for information purposes? Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks. So we will wait till you get the wording and verbiage in line, then we'll come back with it again. So we've heard this twice, am I correct? If not before that time.
I know we discussed it 2 or 3 years back, it seems like.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
You may.
I noticed there's like 12, 11 streets on here. I'm assuming they're speed limit restrictions. I don't see Oscar Davis Parkway on there. That's a pretty fast.
Well, that is a state route. So regardless of what the city of Waycross said, we couldn't use that anyhow.
Okay, good.
And it's in the proposed ordinance that we've got here. It mentions state routes, but we go one step further. Okay, we say you can't ride it on any state route, which is what Ozzie Davis is. But we also say you can't operate on any roadway as it exceeds 35 miles per hour. Okay. You can't operate on any multi-lane roadway. And we've included several other streets on there, which I just don't think it would be safe to operate them on, like Tebow, Knight Avenue. I mean, I've got like 8 or 9 streets that, of my opinion, and I think really the only non-multi-lane roadway that I've asked for in there is Garland Avenue between Alice Street and Plant Avenue, and the only reason I put it in there is because ambulance is coming back from the hospital and don't want anything to kind of impede on that.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Tompkins.
I do have one question. Actually, I have several, but I'll just limit it to this one right now. In here, it talks about insurance requirements. State law does not establish a mandatory minimum liability insurance coverage amount for motorized carts, but yet we have a proposal for a minimum of $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident or bodily injury, and $25,000 for property damage. I looked at those costs. For the average person, that's going to be somewhere from $25 to $75 a month. Is there any particular reason why we're superseding state law?
I don't think we're superseding state law. State law allows us to go in there and adopt the ordinance and shape it the way we...
Well, what I was talking about was the mandatory insurance liability. If the state law doesn't establish it, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment, how many golf carts have been involved in an accident in the past 5 years?
Yeah, I can't give you that figure without going back.
That's my only concern. My district primarily has a lot of homeowners that have golf carts, and I can see that being a concern is, now they're going to have insurance for a golf cart that maybe they only ride at Halloween, that kind of thing. So that was my only question. But once we get the wording a little bit different, then we could definitely go back and look at that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's state law says you can go in there and adjust it, whatever you feel is right for your community. And I would equate it to this: state law says nothing about them not being able to drive on Tebow Street.
Yeah.
Well, as a city, I think it's a little bit too dangerous for that. And so the insurance, from my view, is not only protection from the people on the carts, whatever, but also protection of other people on the roadway. So, you're giving a little bit of liability coverage to them also.
I have one more question.
Okay.
What exactly does state law say for instance, Corridor Z or Memorial Drive, which are actually state-maintained roads? What is the state law as far as carts or ATVs?
It says you can't. You can't.
Okay.
You cannot do it. Well, let me adjust that a little bit. You cannot drive them on state roads unless you can, if there is a designated crossing or a cart, you can do it. But under our ordinance, we still wouldn't allow for you to do it.
Just want to get clarity because, there may be some folks that don't know. I mean, we live in South Georgia. A lot of people are used to doing things that aren't necessarily within the legal guidelines. So just wanted that for clarity's sake.
Oh, yeah, we encounter them every day.
That's it.
That's all.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, that would be good. You have no other questions. Thank you.
The service
Yeah,
agreement?
you go ahead, sir.
Okay. The very last thing is a service agreement between the City of Waycross and Family Justice Center. This renews every year, and pretty much what it does, we have a detective that's assigned to the Family Justice Center. And through that assignment, we actually get reimbursed $68,000 and some change every year. And so every year we submit an invoice to the Family Justice Center, and they cut a check to the City of Waycross. So that's pretty much paying for one of our employees.
Anything specific that you need from us regarding that? This is just information?
No, sir,
for
just
us?
a renewal of the,
Okay.
so we'll need your signature again.
Just my signature?
Yes, sir.
All right, I can do that.
All right. Thanks, Chief Cox. All right, Mr. Mayor, and the final two items on the agenda. First, we'll start with the vacancy inspections. This was asked to be put on co-chaired by all commissioners. So, Ms. Mayor, I'll read the executive summary just to catch everybody up to speed. So the city currently conducts vacancy inspections prior to reconnecting water and or electrical service to ensure minimum life safety conditions are met while intended to protect public safety. This process has created delays, staffing burdens, and customer frustration. Several Georgia municipalities have adopted alternate approaches, including reliance on licensed contractors, affidavits, or eliminating vacancy inspections altogether. These proposals present three policy options for the commission to consider, including eliminating the city vacancy inspections entirely. Again, Mr. Mayor, this will be a further discussion at the retreat, but I want to give you some of this right now to consider as we move forward to that date in April. All right, current practice again, city staff perform vacancy inspection before authorizing reconnection of utilities. Inspections verify basic safety conditions, electrical, plumbing, structural, in general. This process requires staff time and scheduling, delays reconnection for residents and property owners, places the city directly in the liability chain for safety determinations. So this is the first option, Mr. Mayor, for the commission to consider, and you'll get a full copy of this with your emails sometime tomorrow. Option one, and this is the part we do a partial delegation, licensed contractors. So we allow reconnection utilities based on affidavits from licensed professionals. Key elements of this option: licensed electrical contractors may submit an affidavit certifying electrical safety for power reconnections. Licensed plumbers may submit an affidavit certifying plumber safety for water reconnection. In doing this, the city, we do not perform the vacancy inspection. We accept professional certifications as a basis for the reconnections. And that responsibility goes to the licensed contractor, not the city. Some of the pros for this are: it's faster reconnections, it reduces staff workload, it shifts liability away from the city, aligns with practices adopted by some other cities in Georgia. Cons: relies on third-party compliance, less direct city oversight, requires affidavit for development and enforcement standards. Option 2, Mr. Mayor, is a hybrid model with limited city oversight. We use contracted affidavits for standard cases with city inspections only when triggered. Key elements of this: affidavits accepted for reconnection. City inspections require only when property has documented code violations, property is condemned or unsafe, there's a history of repeat violations from the owner. Routine vacancies bypass city inspections. So the pros: maintains a safety backup, reduces inspection volume, preserves discretion for high-risk properties. And the cons: still requires some staff involvement. It's kind of more complex to administer, may still cause delays for certain cases. Option 3, Mr. Mayor, of course, is eliminated vacancy inspections altogether. Key elements of this: of course, no city inspector, no contractor. Utilities reconnected upon customer request and payment. Code enforcement response only to complaints or visible violations. Pros: immediate reconnection, zero inspection burden to staff, simplifies process for residents and landlords, and eliminates city involvement in reconnection decisions. Cons: no pre-occupancy safety verification, increased reliance on reactive enforcement, potential increased risk to occupants, political and public perception considerations following any incident. I put those two down there, Mr. Mayor, just to give new commission some context of how we got here with the vacancy inspections. Full transparency and clarity. We could have better landlords here in the city of Waycross. That's why this process was first implemented. If we remove ourselves from it, I'm just, because I know that's the talk in some of the talk I hear, some of our citizens will be adversely affected. Just got to be something we have to consider. And again, don't wait it to be the basis of your decision. But they started their vacancy inspection because we had some serious safety and healthy violations from our residents, by other residents. As you all know, 2/3 of the population of Waycross rent. So that's a big part of the population that will be reliant on some type of oversight if we remove the city's current oversight. Some things to consider as far as liability. In our current model, the city shares responsibility, by certifying safety. The affidavit model, the liability shifts to the licensed professionals. And of course, with no inspection model, it rests entirely with property owners and then the people they rent to. Fiscal and operational impacts for us, definitely reduce staff time and administrative costs. No direct revenue impact. We don't get any real revenue off of this process right now because it's just geared for safety for us residents. Potential reduction in customer complaints and delays for those who are not satisfied with some of the vacancies. And again, if you look at it from a data point only, you got to talk about, we have thousands of permits pulled, every year, and we have maybe 2 or 3 complaints out of that. So that should not be the driving factor, because those loudest 3 people that complain, we got everybody else who seems to be able to understand how to make this work. But again, just wanted to highlight some of that to the commission. I know you need a deep dive on this at the retreat, but those are just some of the recommendations that we came up with as a staff. And I pause there for any comments or questions on that.
Okay. I'll start with District 1.
Excuse me, sir. I think the last time this came up, we were just talking about eliminating the water off the vacancy inspection. I mean, I understand all that, but would it just totally be a problem if we eliminated the water off the vacancy inspection? I mean, since the water, you know, like I said one time before, water don't really not killing it, don't kill anyone. So
The problem we're having, as Ms. Engel kind of mentioned too, even like the downtown properties, if we don't ever look at them, I mean, they're not upkept, you know. And really, the water inspections are really only force and function to make sure the home is safe. Because we wouldn't be in there, you know. And then, like I said, 2/3 of our population, they rent, and we have a lot of unsafe homes. We have a lot of court cases, and they will require that the residents take the property owner to court, you know. I'm not sure what the impact will be, Commissioner, on right now. I just know if we don't do some type of inspection or some type of requirement, getting affidavits from licensed professionals, we take a serious chance on safety with the public.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, District 1. District 2?
Just don't have any problems with that.
Okay. And District 3?
I kind of looked into the issue when it was first put on the agenda, and even with the water, there is some potential responsibility if it was mismanaged or not done as far as the back pressure entering in our main lines, and that can cause issues and problems.
Correct.
I do believe we need some type of oversight in that regard, but it is a outcry from the public that we reduce some of the restrictions associated with the vacancy inspection. So you gave us a hybrid option. I think as a commission, we should consider weighing the two, public safety as well as trying to address the public concerns.
Can I respond to that, Mr. Mayor? Can I respond?
Yes, sir.
Oh, so just one point too. So this is already kind of built in to our charter. I have allowed residents when it becomes unsafe for everybody for the relationship to get other contractors to inspect their property. We're having a hard time now, even with that. You know, many cities don't have licensed code departments. All around, nobody has licensed code departments, so they really can't do inspections either. I mean, so, and with the affidavits, the only problem I might see is the plumbers. It's going to be difficult because we have limited plumbers here. That's what always the city holding us up is that it's the lack of plumbers a lot of times. So that's going to be a problem as well. But I have allowed that to happen over the last 90 days, and I've called other cities. I've had a hard time. I've even invited other cities inspectors come down to just show our residents that we don't do anything different from anybody else. And of course, city after city after city, they don't have a licensed code enforcement. So outside of the four big cities. So everybody's facing this challenge kind of differently. But again, we definitely need some type of oversight. I mean, because you made a good point about the back through, and it's a lot of stuff. If on the surface it don't seem like it's a problem with the water, if it goes unmaintained, or even the meter, we'll check those things out. But these are options that we're presenting to the commission. I want to do it now, give you a few months to really think about it and do your own research as well. I know you missed a training date for Atlanta. You probably got some good feedback from other commissioners, but there's not a lot. It's either we do it or we don't do it. And with the hybrid, it's going to be kind of hard because even with the hybrid model, the appearance can be that we pick and choose and when to send our people out. So, but that's one thing. So, but we got time to think about it. And I know at the retreat, this is going to be the bulk of the discussion. I know y'all mentioned already about getting rid of some of the codes, which should lessen some of this as well. Once we go through the code section, get rid of some of the aesthetic stuff that don't need to be inspected, that probably should shut things up as well.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. District 4?
I don't have any questions at this time. I'll probably wait till the retreat when we get closer.
And District 5?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next, Mr. Mayor, we went to the last item on the discussion item was going to be property setbacks. And this is co-chaired by our commission as well with concerns. Executive summary. So the city's current setback requirements were adopted on development patterns that no longer reflect present day conditions in many parts of the community, particularly older neighborhoods, infill areas, and redevelopment corridors. Strict application of existing setbacks has, in some cases, limited reinvestment, increased variance requirements, and created inconsistencies between older and newer developments. These proposals outline options for updating setback standards to better align with existing neighborhood character, promote infill housing and redevelopment, and reduce unnecessary regulatory barriers while maintaining public safety and orderly development. Now, I knew we had this discussion on setbacks a while back, and we didn't make that decision, so we'll take it to the retreat as well, and hopefully come out the retreat and put that back on the agenda for a vote. So the background, for those who might not understand this, so setback requirements regulate the minimum distance between structures and property lines. These standards are intended to ensure safety, access, light, air, and neighborhood compatibility. In Waycross, many established neighborhoods were developed before modern zoning standards, resulting in homes built closer to property lines that currently aren't allowed. Narrow or irregular lots that cannot meet current setbacks, increase variance requests for modest improvements or reconstruction. As a result, the city frequently faces requests that are administrative in nature rather than substantive land use concerns. This is the problem that we're trying to fix, Mr. Mayor. Infield constraints, current setbacks can make otherwise buildable lots unusable. Redevelopment barriers building on existing footprints may require variances. Administrative burden, staff time, and board of zoning appeals reviews are consumed by routine setback issues. The majority of the zoning board is going to be setback concerns for the most part, 75% of it. Inconsistencies, new constructions may be forced out of alignment with surrounding historic development patterns. So the policy goals, amendment to our current setback regulations to do the following: encourage housing development and reinvestment, respect existing neighborhoods' character as much as possible, reduce unnecessary variances, maintain life safety standards and access, improve predictability for property owners and builders. These are some of the options we're going to ask that you incorporate. Now, this is already in the charter, in the code, but I want to just say it out loud so our residents know. Vertical development and flexible setback allowance for infill and redevelopment. This option is intended to facilitate reinvestment in established neighborhoods where lot width, depth, or configuration makes compliance with current setbacks requirements impractical. It allows vertical construction build up when horizontal expansion is constrained, and provides targeted setbacks flexibility for investors' redevelopment without compromising public safety or neighborhood compatibility. So with this bottom line, Mr. Mayor, I think a question was asked, why can't you build up? So you've always been able to build up, meaning second and third floors by our current regulations. But I definitely want to rewrite this so it's clearly understood on those certain lots. So we're talking about like row houses and, houses with, I think, second floors. I know there's still some verbiage in there about sizes, so that would have to be changed. So if you got a house and it's 1,000 foot, but two houses with size is 1,000 foot, but you go up and now it's going to be 2,000 foot. We got to change that verbiage as well. That's something we're trying to do right now. But this is just an option to you, Mr. Mayor and Commission, to consider. And some of the provisions from this vertical construction allowance on narrow or constrained lots. It will permit residential structures to increase height on number of stories with minimal lot width or side setbacks cannot be met. Eligibility criteria, of course, existing plotted lots. Lots below a defined minimum width threshold, infill development, maximum height limit to maintain neighborhood scale. So that would be a thing if all the houses are 10 feet ceilings. We might have to look at that as an option. And then of course to maintain fire, life safety, and building code compliance is required. So the intent, it allows homes to grow upward rather than outward where width is unavailable. Setback modifications for investors-led redevelopment. This is going to allow it's a proposal to allow reduced front, side, and or rear setbacks for properties being rehabilitated or redeveloped by investors. Applicable to vacant or blighted properties, rehabs, reconstructions, properties improving neighborhood conditions or housing supplies. The approval process is administrative approval by the planning and building staff. No variance required. Clear objective standards to ensure consistency. Intent, Mr. Mayor, Commission, to remove regulatory barriers that discourage private investments into older neighborhoods. So the sober of this is we have a lot of homes. This goes back into the small lots because so can't really build there because of the lot size or the closeness of the other houses. And it will be a case by case type scenario, but we want to allow like a single investor to come in there as well. So if I want to maybe come in there and do 2 homes, we kind of move the variance around so they can do that. Right now, because a lot of these homes were built, we didn't really have any true setbacks. It's been almost impossible for those types of redevelopment. And, you know, this might help out with our blighted properties, those houses that can be salvaged. If also, so that's another maybe with this. But again, this is just something that we're going to throw out to the commission for consideration. We did talk about setbacks a while back, and we didn't follow all the way through. So hopefully this time we can make some type of decision on that. Context-sensitive compatibility requirements ensure flexible setbacks do not negatively impact adjacent properties. So this is just kind of what we say we want to help investors come in there too. We don't want to let somebody come in and build a 5,000 square foot house that consumes everybody at the same time. So that's just saying that. Safeguards and limitation. None of these changes that you're going to see override fire, building, or life safety codes. Does not apply to new subdivisions unless especially authorized. Applies only to residential zone districts or defined overlay areas. City retains enforcement authority for unsafe, non-compliant structures. So the benefits, Mr. Mayor, for doing a little bit of modification for the setbacks, also to allow upwards building. It will enable development on narrow or irregular lots. As you know, we have many lots currently right now that you can't build on simply because the way the lot itself is built. Encourage housing production and reinvestment. Reduces variance requests and delays. Once again, 75% of our concerns of variance requests. Support small scale investors and local builders. Again, we do have some people that might want to just rehab 1 or 2 homes. This will give them, make them more likely to be able to do that. Preserve neighborhoods, character, wildlife, and flexibility. And again, I know the goal is to keep some neighborhoods, houses that look in the same theme, Victorian, those things, but we do want to make sure that we're not, turning the investor away because of a front-facing house. Potential considerations requires clear height and design standards. May require staff training, and like I said, we have to rewrite some more ordinances for clarity. And then public communication necessary to avoid misconception of overbuilding. So definitely don't want to just let anybody come in here and just build, and we have no rules in place. But we do want to make the process easier. Definitely for a big time, not big time. If somebody wants to come in and do homes development, like neighborhoods, definitely make it easy on them as possible. But at the same time, if we have a single person wanting to rehab a home, make it as simple as possible for them as well. And with that, Mr. Mayor, that completes that portion of the agenda, and I'll pause there for any questions or recommendations or concerns.
I'll start off. Listening to what you're saying, one of the concerns I had while listening is that if you're doing these, are we doing them customized per district so that they fit those areas? That's one question. Because if you think about our historic district is going to have more of Victorian style look. And that's going to be one of those concerns that if you go to another section of our community or other areas in the districts, you may not have the same kind of need. So I'm asking, one, is there a customized way? Then secondly, will there be a group of people, maybe a committee of people who live in those districts who will be a part of this conversation so that when we do maybe a roundtable of some sort, they have some input and conversation around what could or should be done in their neighborhoods so that it won't be a conflict of interest for us, because many of us who live in different districts, and I think everyone in the room has a different place that they're involved in, but there needs to be some form of a template maybe created for that particular group alongside proper verbiage inside of these ordinances and making sure that we meet what is necessary. My question alongside that's 1, 2, and my third question. The third question is going to deal with having not only groups of people, that's the second thing, and not only having a particular template, but do want to know if there is going to be, if anything, a time where we're going to sit down with the documents that we have before us or had before us in order to meet these needs, because if we don't have the persons who are going to be dealing with economic development, or the people who are not going to be dealing with it, because if you're talking about bringing people in and building developers and so forth, and we don't have rulings, as you said, we need to have the rules for that. How are we going to maintain that? That's another question on the end. How are we going to reinforce whether or not that's going to be done, especially if you go back and someone says, well, that house down the street didn't have it done this way. So why are we having to do it this way now? And if that's going to impede upon the development within those different groups. So I don't know if my questions are already addressed in some of your thinking, but if that's not the case, we need to try to address those things as well. But I'll open the floor to the districts, and I'll start off with District 1. They may have some comments.
No, I'm good. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, and District 2.
Mr. City Manager, is this something we're going to address at the retreat?
Correct.
Okay, I'll wait.
It sounds like a whole retreat thing.
I'll wait.
And District 3.
I'll wait to retreat.
Okay. District 4.
I'll hold off on any questions right now.
Okay, and District 5.
No comment, Mr. Mayor.
I'm going to keep commenting.
Can I ask you the first
And
two
the reason I do that is because we'll get in here and do this right here, and then when we get to that meeting, we would have forgotten all. And I need to have my thoughts bullet pointed so that when we come back in here, we can actually address them step by step, as opposed to somehow having amnesia, as we sometimes do. But anyway, that's all I have.
Okay. So just a few points, Mr. Mayor. I do think two things can be happening at the same time. The setback modification, that's just in general. We need to look at the setbacks all together. So the setback modification, that's something actually separate. So that would be a case by case. But just in general, we do need to kind of change the setback rules right now, because right now you can't build anything because of our current setbacks. But we have those cases, and it'll be like we have to determine lot size. There will be requirements. It won't be like I'm coming here, I want to build a McDonald's house, because y'all, it won't be a thing like that. It'll be, this lot is 0.28 acres. And it can only maintain a house this size. That's when those adjustable setbacks will come into play. So it will be like a case by case. I do think, talking to other cities, again, everybody's facing these same challenges. At some point, we often have to get away from some of the aesthetics, some of the homes that we try to stick to, because those homes are just not being built anymore. And we do need housing rapidly at this time. So any way we can get people to come here and rehab some of these homes or build some of these homes, we got to definitely take advantage of that. But again, this will be one of the discussion items at the retreat. And you'll get information papers on all these tomorrow morning, kind of outlining the pros and cons and depth. And I'll give you a month and a half to really consider that. And then anything you want to add, Mr. Mayor, y'all can add at the retreat, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Sounds good.
With that, Mr. Mayor, we're going to have one privilege license renewal. We have no privilege licenses. We're going to have 2 ordinances. There's like 2 resolutions. I'm going to double check that. And with that, we're going to turn my time over to the city attorney for her report.
There's no report at this time.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mayor. With that, Mr. Mayor, I'm moving to my report. Mr. Mayor, I'm going to do my report, and I'm going to turn over a little bit of my time to the procurement officer. She wants to provide a update with enterprise system for our leasing program that we found out right before the meeting. So, again, Mr. Mayor, these are the zones, everyone. Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4. This is where the team is this week, Mr. Mayor. As you all know, we did have a lot of people get sick from this constantly changing weather, so we've been short some crews today. So we'll try to catch up as the weather gets better. We did have a lot of pipes bust over the weekend. I'll make a public statement now. Please follow all rules, follow all recommendations by the fire department, by Ware County Emergency Management about turning your faucets on. I think we're up to like 32 busted leaks right now, and most of these are on private property, so we can't do a lot with it. We can assist where we can, but we can't do a lot with it. So please, it's supposed to be cold the rest of this week. Please let your water drip throughout the night. The engineering projects have not changed, Mr. Mayor. We are going to be set back a little bit with some of our big projects. Lee Avenue culvert placement, depending on how this weather is going to be over the next few days. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to turn it over to Purchasing Director with an enterprise update. And we're gonna have the enterprise, she's actually gonna kind of, she doing teams or? Okay, she's gonna come in through teams, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Because we do have a few new commissioners on board, we kind of wanted to give a introduction and a brief overview of what we have with Enterprise. We currently have a leasing program with Enterprise. It started before I started, which was approximately 2020 or 21 when they came in. And we were not able to fully take advantage of everything they had to offer because that was the time of COVID, so a lot of things shut down. And I wanted to give Ms. Heather Bell a chance to basically introduce the program to you all and answer any questions you may have. Ms. Heather, are you there?
I am. You guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me. I had sent some stuff to Patrick. Were you able to print it out and share it?
We have it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of do a brief overview, and one of the main things that a lot of them didn't realize is one of the ways that you partnered with us was through Sourcewell. So I just kind of included that on here. So, because with Sourcewell, you don't have to, since we're already been vetted out, the pricing plan, whenever you guys reach out to us for a vehicle, we typically try to factory order a vehicle straight from the factory to get the lowest cost. And your pricing plan is already set with Sourcewell, so you don't have to go out and bid against it because it's already going to be the best price that way. And I can kind of explain more if you guys have questions, but I know typically the process is 3 bids, but that kind of helps you not have to do that. And then the main thing, when I have that slide on there that says the effective vehicle life cycle, what we found out was we've been partnering with government clients, and now, you know, we've had some that have been on the program for 10 plus years, and it's grown a lot. And when we first started, we realized that, you know, most government, you guys don't drive a ton of miles, and you kind of keep the cars for a long time, 15, 20, 25 years, and then the value of the vehicles just kind of plateaued and is really not worth anything. And so we kind of brought our way that we do our rental side to the government space. And that is just trying to get out of it at the right time and kind of show that if you get out of it, even though it's low miles, because it's kind of crazy to think, why would I trade in a car with 45,000 miles? But when you do, you can kind of see, and I have some examples in the packet from another government entity, and that I'll kind of help explain, because we don't want to exceed the time. So even though it's 45,000 miles, if it gets over that 7-year period, we're really going to start to plateau. So that's where I look at, like, when is the best time to get out of it? And then for you guys, I just have another slide just kind of on the government depreciation of like buying a vehicle and like what a holding period looks like. So if you guys see, if you had a vehicle and you drove it for 1 year and you had 5,000 miles on it. So if you were to just buy like that Chevy, that 2026 GMC Silverado, and you went straight to the website, that's what your cost is. But with your price, because of your government bid assistance and everything, you're actually getting it for 45. So if you were to, in 1 year, pay 45 and then sell it for 45,194, you technically put out $100. And we're just kind of showing that in year 2, year 3, the annual outlay isn't much different than keeping it for 15 years. So it's like, why keep it for 15 years and have an older vehicle that needs more maintenance on it, versus just kind of maybe keeping a vehicle, 3-4 years. We are a little behind. I know I've been wanting, I think for about a couple years now, I was hoping to get it cycled out of them. But now it's definitely time on some of these Silverados and stuff that I have in here, if we're able to cycle out. And then just to kind of explain the open-ended leasing model, so you guys have a slide, and just to kind of give like a brief overview when it comes to leasing, it's not like leasing at a dealership. These are your cars, you do whatever, they're registered to you. We're just kind of helping you not have to put all the cash up front. So the idea is if a vehicle costs $42,000, instead of going and buying the vehicle for $42,000 or having a monthly payment on that 42, and so it's like, hey, maybe we do 32 and you keep 10 of that as a residual. And so at the end, whenever we go to sell it, so if we sell it for $22,500 and you owe 10, we're going to take that extra $12,500 and roll it into your next vehicle. And then that gave you an extra 10 grand to maybe go do something else with it. So if there was another thing that you had to purchase, I know some of my government entities, they really needed some like refrigerator trucks, or if it's a county, like, ambulances and stuff like that. So that just kind of helps free up money, and that's kind of the idea behind the leasing model, and why government entities partner with us. I included way back, I wasn't a part of the implementation. I had taken over the account soon after Linda left. But when you guys came on, I did find where your current fleet and like what your fleet looked like before partnering with Enterprise. And at that time, your current fleet cycle was almost 15 years. So that meant it would take you bought a car today, you would replace it in 15 years. And, go ahead.
No questions. Not yet.
Oh, sorry. And your average age of your vehicle was like 7 or 8 years. I think it was like, yeah, that's what was on here. The average age of your vehicle was 10 years old. So it was an average age of 10, and then it would take 14 years. I included your current fleet profile in here, and this doesn't have all of the vehicles. A lot of the vehicles were taken out that you guys that are really old on here, so this isn't even an actual representation, because I know there's still some older vehicles that you have. But if you take the 47 that I see, you've actually increased your average holding period. So based off of these, if you buy a car today, it's going to take you 17 years to replace it versus the 13 you started off with. And that's just because of cycling out some of the older vehicles, but your average age has lowered. So it looks like you have a healthier fleet, but if we don't think ahead or be proactive, we'll just kind of be back where we were prior to it. So that's where I'm just trying to bring some light so that one of the big reasons to partner with us is to try to get away from that aging fleet. And so I have, if you see the example where it says resale overview example, that is a government client. The mix of these 7 cars was 2 Malibus and some Chevy pickup trucks. And so when you look at this, they had it in their fleet for 50 months, and you can see the odometer was very low, like some of yours, so just under 42,000 miles. So whenever we look at this and we see like the gains and the sales, the biggest thing that I people to take away is at the very bottom, it says average effective depreciation. And so what that is whenever you have your lease payments. So over the 50 months, they made their lease payments. And then at the end, when we sold it, they effectively only paid on average for these 7 cars less than $3,800. So you were able to have a vehicle for $3,800 effectively versus having to keep it forever. Because if you kept it forever and you paid 40 grand, effectively that vehicle would have cost you 40 grand. And that's just what we're trying to bring back is, can we, as these leases come to term, do we have permission to replace them? And possibly, I know there are some vehicles that you guys own that we were looking to possibly get on the program in the next budget year. And so I have both of those slides just to kind of highlight some of the vehicles that are already leased that are at term, and then the ones that you guys own that they would like to get onto the program. I know I kind of went through that fast, so I wasn't sure how much time I had. But what questions do you guys have? What can I provide more insight?
I'll open the floor to the districts to ask or comment. If they have questions or comments. Starting with District 1, if you have any comments or questions.
No, sir.
District 2?
No, sir.
District 3?
No, sir.
District 4?
Currently, how many vehicles do we have under this fleet program?
47.
So your current profile, I guess I should have left that on your slide for you. You have, I think, 37. Hold on, I have it.
It's just 47.
That includes the police and your fleet.
So that would be 47.
I think it's 37, but hold on, I was going to get your exact. I took it off for some reason off of your. Yeah, you have 38, sorry, 38.
38.
Okay. So the vehicles that are on there, how would we just initially trade them in to get on the fleet program?
So what we would do is we wouldn't pick them up or anything until you have replacements. So the idea is to be proactive, and so find out, like, I can do a cost comparison. I had sent like a little budget tool ahead of time that you guys probably don't have it, or I don't know if they brought it with you, but it kind of just shows different options. So I gave different options if you prefer a Ram, a Chevy 1500, or GMC, and you guys could see what the cost would be estimated. And as that vehicle comes in, we would just pick that car up, sell it, and then apply the gains to the new car.
Okay. I have no other questions.
Okay, and District 5?
No, Mr. Mayor, I don't have anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather.
Anything else?
That's all from us.
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Let me know if you have any other questions. I appreciate it.
Alrighty, thank you.
And Ms. Mayor, if I can, just some context. So she's not counting our whole fleet. So I think she had 15 years. It's actually I think we had 22 years as far as fleet management. I will say we're very grateful for the SPLOST. Certain things, ARPA, they allowed us to kind of start turning the fleet over. We can catch up. I think by next year's budget, when y'all do next year's budget, we should be able to start. I hate to use the word flipping, but we should be able to start flipping the vehicles because we have a better inventory. So the reason it didn't work before, of course, came on the tail end of COVID, and it was hard to find vehicles. So I think the program is working better right now. But we'll probably talk about this more in detail during the budget hearings. when they start at the end of April, you'll get, that's when we'll kind of go into that, on the pros and cons of leasing. Now, it really works well, of course, for our police. They go through the cars the fastest, anybody. And so it's a good program for them. But for really to work, we got to kind of get Public Works in there too, as well as codes and everybody else, and turn them over that way. And that's it.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mayor, that completes the work session. We do have an executive session personnel.
Okay. I'll need a motion to go into executive session for personnel.
Motion to go in executive session.
Second.
We have a motion from our Commissioner Tompkins and a second from our Commissioner Simmons. All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carries. We're going into executive session. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Have a good evening.
Yeah.